All right, this is part one of a three-part series. Today we are going under the hood with strategies and solutions on how Dustin Collins from Innovative Building and Remodeling has gone from 1.5 meg, making nothing, to 5 meg, making over half a meg, doubling his team. We're going to go deep with this. So we're going to cover off the importance of policy manuals, reasons why you need job descriptions for every single position, and we're going to back this up by the 3 R's so you can build an A team, why you need them, how to apply them. We're going to go deep with sharing how wearing multiple hats is actually a skill set needed that your team needs to crush it, okay? And how you got to get crystal clear on your team's organization. Otherwise, it's going to drive you crazy. So we're going to get into how to delegate, how to define your roles. It's going to be killer, no filler. So subscribe down below. Click the link, book in and chat if you want to get some help on these areas. And let's go live with real strategies that are working real time right now with Dustin Collins. Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class, they call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learn something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life. All right, guys, welcome to another No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. I got my man with me. This is a special podcast. And I say special because there's nothing better that I like to see than great people, getting great results, being able to have a better to maybe a pathway to a great life in a lot of different ways. I got Dustin Collins with me, and Dustin is going to talk about, from working his ass off, from a $1.8 million company and just breaking even, working so hard for basically nothing, to on track now to a $5 million business at 10% or more, $500K to $750K in net profit. Big change, and it's not all about the money. It's about a lot of other things, and we're going to talk about what's allowed him to get there, what's the mindset that has allowed him to push through and get to this other side that he's on. And so Dustin, welcome, my man.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell us, what's the name of your company? What do you guys do? And then let's rock and roll into this, baby.
We are Innovative Building and Remodeling in Boise, Idaho area. And,
Boise.
Yeah, we got connected with PFC. It's been about a year. And anyway, the transformation in the last 12 months has really, helped us launch from where we were struggling, not really knowing how to grow, to really getting a much better rein and plan of attack for future growth. Dude,
I love it. So, everybody that's listened to some of these podcasts, it's all about the real deal. Okay, I haven't pre-planned this. I do that because I don't even know what Dustin's going to be bringing up. I've got a good gauge of some things that he's done, but as far as exactly what he's going to be sharing with you guys, word for word, I don't know. That's why it's a No Bullshit Podcast. So with that being said, I think one of the most important things before you go any further in listening to this podcast or continuing to allow the play button to play is let's make sure this is the right place for you. So if you're not a contractor, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be on this podcast. If you're a business owner in a different type of business, you're going to benefit, but it's not going to be just fluff and stuff. It's specifically for contractors, tradespeople, plumbers, HVAC, sheet metal, you name it on the contracting side. And that's what we're all about, is helping contractors go from being the tradesperson to being really a champion CEO of their business. So if that fits you and your criteria, great. If you're offended by some cursing and swearing, I'm not saying that I try to amplify that, but it's just part of my style, part of the no bullshit. If you don't like it, then don't listen to it. And that's all I'm going to say. But we are all about giving you guys tips and tricks. Dustin's going to share shit with you guys that will literally leapfrog your business decades to days. And what do I mean by that? So many times we spend so much time trying to figure things out. And in some cases, we spend years, decades, and even more when somebody else has already solved the problem. So I'm trying to leapfrog your insights and ability to do just that is to get success. So enough of me yapping. Let's go to the man of the hour. So Dustin, what would you say to somebody as to why they should continue listening to this podcast beyond what I just talked about? What would you say?
Well, I think I would start off with one of the things that was super impactful to me that you had mentioned about a year ago, one of the podcasts and training sessions, that's the thing that makes you successful to one point is going to be the very thing that holds you back from growing your business. And there was something that rang inside of me when you said that, because I can recognize it and feel it, where I was working really hard, 7 days a week, a lot of hours, a lot of evenings, get kids to bed, be back on the computer, trying to do the estimates, double check everything. And guys can only do that for so long, and then you're wearing out. And when I realized that I had to change my mind from a contractor to a business owner, it made me realize and at least recognize the need for more training, that I needed help to understand the things that I didn't know. And, and that's one of the things I value about PFC is I'm continuing to grow in that. I'm naturally not a business guy. I never planned on starting a construction company, or let alone growing to what we've been able to grow to. So it's something that was impactful, and it helped recognize a need that I had to fill and begin to train myself. And anyway, that was kind of the start.
Dude, I love it.
Really
I love
got serious for us.
So, let's elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Like when I said that, what were some of the things that I don't know what went through your brain, but what were some of the things more specifically where you were maybe questioning,
Yeah.
I've tried this, I've tried that, I've tried all these different things. Fuck, I'm putting in the hours, I'm doing this. Like, what in that statement made you stop and go, holy shit, maybe I don't know, maybe I don't have the skills, maybe I don't have the insights. Like, what was it?
Well, a lot of guys that are really passionate about what we do, you're a perfectionist. Everything's got to be done just right. And so the idea of delegating and handing something off to somebody else is difficult. It does not come naturally. And so there was that recognition that I needed more training in how to grow a company to where I wasn't having to do every estimate from the ground up and do it the way I thought it needed to be done, and also oversee all of the guys on the job, making sure everything was done, and same time out selling new jobs and trying to be a part of every piece of the puzzle ran you crazy. And so we had, I believe it was 6 guys a year ago, and we're at 16 now, and just growing. We've got a couple of leaders. We've got a general manager. Mark is one of the guys that I know you've talked with several times, and he's outstanding. He's helping to, having other levels of guys that are able to oversee different projects, but defining roles and so on. Those were all things that were abstract because I was a contractor. We're into building it. We get so far through a job, and then we have to sell the next job and make sure we know where we're headed. And from that point,
I love it. So if you're listening in on this and think to yourself, man, what's special about some of the stuff that these guys can do for me? And again, let me be clear. This isn't some sort of sales pitch freaking podcast. It's about really helping contractors. I have a big passion for helping contractors. Most of my family members own some form of a contracting business, whether it's laying carpet, whether it's, a mechanic shop or whatever. And I've seen so many really good people have really bad lives, really bad businesses, really bad, health because of the things going on or not going on in the business. And I think that whether you engage with us from today's podcast, and if you want to, there's going to be a link below, or you engage with somebody else. I want you to understand that I think one of the greatest aspects of being a champion CEO, and I mean, Dustin, you talk about going from being a tradesperson, or contractor to being a business owner. The language, as you know, Dustin, that I use is a champion CEO. Because even becoming a business owner, it's not enough. You got to become a champion. You got to be you got to really want to lead a team, not just I got a business. Yeah, it's doing okay. Like, fuck that. What do you mean okay? Like, we got to kick ass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
And those things never leave as a contractor. So my focus isn't on the day-to-day job details, but we're working with investors. I'm focusing on other things. We're putting together plans for spec homes that we're going to build as, with our company. And so it allows me to go from an on-the-job mindset to how do we grow? So I think that's being able to delegate and being able to get freedom back in, personal life and everything else is important. However, that drive to continue to grow, that never stops. And I don't think it should be. The moment I don't enjoy doing what we're doing, I'll go serve coffee or something in a coffee shop. But as long as we are doing what we do, I understand as a business leader, I want to continue to grow a company. And so, yeah, exactly that. It's a different mindset being a champion CEO that I'm still growing in. Another thing that I always appreciated about you guys is if you could pick up 80% of what's being taught. We're probably not picking up 80% of everything, but 60, 70, and we like to circle around every 3 months and continue to glean more and more and grow on a lot of the principles, from the foundational stuff to the current stuff you guys are bringing.
I love it. I love it. By the way, sometimes on these podcasts, I can't help it because it's part of my nature. Is probably why Prof for Contractors, part of the reason it was created is, I'm a coach, right? I can't help but not want to help people. So Dustin, I don't know if you're aware of it, but one of the documents, even if you are aware of it, to revisit is and I'm not sure if you got your hands on it, is the 70 plus page policy manual. So have you seen that?
I have not done that one yet.
Okay. Okay. So what's in there, and we'll touch on this, everybody listening in, so I'm not doing, so you're not like, oh my God, what is that thing? And, I got to get it, and now I got to book in a call.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. Okay. So I'm going to tell you what it is. So in that document is what's called an organizational structure. So it's a pre-done organizational structure that applies, about 80+% of it applies to every type of contracting business, right? Every contracting business does estimates.
Yeah.
Every contracting business has tradespeople. Every contracting business, I'm not going to go on, but we're going to say, right, you have administrative. You have, on the financial side, you have some form of helpers or apprentices. I mean, and how do I know that? Well, guys, I had my own contracting business. I systemized it. I scaled it. And I created these documents and tools and templates. And that's how I was able to do it. And so now we give those things to our Champion CEO members. And so, Dustin, make sure you get your hands on that policy manual. Not only does it have the organizational structure, so back to leapfrogging decades of days, which took me, by the way, everybody, I said decades. It took me over 10 years to create these fucking things. So I had to go through 10 years of hell until I went, what the fuck? I got to do something different here. So it also has all the job descriptions for all those positions. It also has inside there sign-off contracts so that your employees can sign off and go, yeah, man, I'm signing up to this role. I understand what this role is. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Let's leapfrog you today. So I want you to go get that after the call today or in the next week or so.
I will. This was part of our staff meeting yesterday.
Woo!
We've got a lot of that stuff done, but it's not incorporated the way it needs to be. And we do have one of the big business plans that has everything dialed in, but it's incorporating more and more and more of it, to where it's dialed in. I love the fact that signing off on job descriptions. We have something similar as far as this is how we're going to conduct ourselves on site, with our employees.
Yep.
But yeah, taking that
so you'll love it, dude.
Signing off is awesome.
Yeah, and it all deals with the 3 R's. Anybody listening in? So I'm coaching Dustin right now, man. I love this shit, right? Roles. Everybody write this down. Roles, rules, and results. Somebody doesn't know what their role is. I don't give a shit if you're a 2-man company. I don't care if you're a 200-person company. Like, we help all those different types of businesses. I guarantee you there's administrative. There's paper. There's process. There's the office side of it. You're quoting jobs. If you're Bob in the truck or 2 people, guess what? Whether or not you fucking, and by the way, here's a little tip, Dustin, on this. The amount of roles that are in the organizational chart does not directly, I'll repeat it again, does not directly equate to how many employees you have. Okay? What do I mean by that, everybody? Guys, we're not a fucking Apple. We're not a Google. We're not like every single position, the person putting the garbage out, we need a person. The person picking up the garbage is a different person. The person freaking wiping my whatever is like, no, we don't have that. We are small businesses, guys. Okay? So the reality is, no matter what business you have, people need to wear multiple hats. I wear multiple hats, guys. And you know what? I love it but they're the right hats. Okay? So we want to make sure, and that's why it's even more critical. Understand this. It's even more critical for you, Dustin, to have that organizational chart. It's even more critical for everybody listening in that you have your roles and responsibilities and the rules of the game. I'll talk on the rules in a second. So you can get the results and everybody's clear on what the hell are the freaking results. Because if we know that the odds, okay, are that there's going to be people having to wear more than one hat.
Yeah.
Then the complexity of what that person has to do. We're going to talk about some of the things that we've done with you, defaulting your calendar. And dude, I want to touch on what you were doing before you got on this call, which is awesome on the personal front. It's so critical for us to understand what our roles, plural, are. Because in order to do 2 different hats, right? Even right now, guys, if I was to put on the white hat and walk on a job site, I'm a foreman. Right? I'm an industrial controls licensed electrician, guys. Okay, I used to build automation lines, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I walk on a job site and I put on that foreman's hat. If I don't mentally, if I'm actually being an electrician at some point in that, I'm going to hook up something, I'm going to run some wire. So I'm the foreman, I'm the electrician, I'm the helper, let's just say, right? If I can't identify when I'm doing those things, the individual roles, I'll never be able to be good at doing those roles because they're not defined. Does that make sense, Dustin?
Yeah.
How does this resonate with you? Like how of what I've just covered off is like, this makes sense.
It does. And we've been defining our roles and responsibilities for crew members and how do those overlap. We laugh at one of our, rock stars, Jace, is a guy that does a lot of our in-house accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll. Jace has got 9 hats for us, and it all depends on what needs to be done. He's overseeing the office and a whole lot of stuff going on. So I get that there's multiple roles for a lot of these positions. We are a small company. So it's true.
I love it. So I'm going to put it to, we're going to move on from this in just a second, but I'm going to put the nail in the coffin here. If that person has multiple hats, everybody listen in, because we're going to move on to something called defaulting calendar. And if I look at his calendar, sorry, what is his name again?
Jace.
That's right, Jace. Okay, so if I look at Jace's calendar, whether I'm the coach looking at it, I'm the CEO looking at it, okay? within a very, very short period of time, I can look at his calendar. And if I know what the roles and responsibilities are regarding the different hats that he's looking at, I can know within seconds. Everybody listening, like literally within seconds at max, within minutes, that he's dropping the ball on certain hats, or he's putting way too much energy in on other hats. How would I know that? By looking at his calendar. Dustin?
I could just see where he's spending too much time.
So picture this, everybody. If you don't, and what is a default calendar? What's a default calendar, Dustin?
Well, it's taking the primary responsibilities you have and you need to make sure you have time for, and setting it up to where every week you're repeating those things week after week. So a lot of the meetings, we've got our meetings on there, our time for when we are, say, visiting clients. I am actually visiting clients less and less, but we have certain afternoons that we schedule appointments to be out. We leave a couple days a week, 4-hour blocks to schedule stuff. Other than that, everything else is full with week to week business operational stuff. We have a Monday morning manager meeting where all of our managers are together. We huddle up at 7 a.m. and then we take our team that's in the office and we drive to every job site so that the estimators can see what's going on at every job. They can begin to get familiar with the process. Once they estimate something, it goes to those guys and it actually plays out. And at the same time, Jace is one of our guys doing invoicing. He can go out and look at the jobs and see, okay, they get to this point. We're going to, when is he going to be ready to invoice, and kind of coordinate with the guys on the ground. And so we found that as a super beneficial tool that we do every week.
I love it, dude. I love it.
Gives the guys in the office that are kind of boxed in by four walls to get outside and actually see what the work they're doing, how it's played out in the field.
So everybody listening on this one, okay? So by the way, that Monday morning meeting, you're like, well, okay, you mean like a Tuesday or Wednesday? No. That's a designed, proven meeting.
Yeah.
That Dustin has learned and understood the principle of it. It's not a meeting just to have a meeting. It's a very specific meeting. We're not going to get into crazy detail, but to say that it's to define what kind of success what defines success for the week before the week starts, so that everybody, especially the guys in the field, the people in the office, okay, so that the two are working together like a well-oiled machine, knowing what results are needed, and from the previous week, what gets carried over, what got accomplished, what didn't. Guys, communication is one of the most important things. But coming back to the default calendar, okay? Mm-hmm. He's gone from 1.8 meg, break even. And what kind of hours were you working back then, Dustin?
A lot. 60 plus hour weeks were pretty normal.
Okay. So can you imagine, guys, like 60 hours a week? Some of you guys listening in are doing 70, 80. Man, dude, I and I'm sure, Dustin, you've done too, 100-hour work weeks. Like,
yeah.
Just fucking like a zombie. Like, holy shit. Like, you don't even know what day is it? Fucking, yeah. Like, I remember those days. Is it morning? Is it night? Like, honestly, I remember those days, right? Mm-hmm. So understand that and write this down, everybody listening in, your cash flow and your profits, actually your whole success, business and personal, which we're going to touch on the personal in just a second, follows your calendar. So net at a high level, the 5 meg at 10%, so from 1.8 break even to 5 meg at 10 plus %, making, instead of nothing, $500,000 to $750K. The core of that high level net is because what he did and his team did, and the expansion of his team did in their calendars, equated to higher value of time. Mm-hmm. So everybody, when you're looking back at your calendar, when you look back at the calendar that you used to have, the 60 hours, more of break even equals what?
Yeah, it's the planning.
Like putting in 60, 70 hours. If you're at break even at 50, when you put in 60, are you still break even?
No, you're running in a wheel. You're not getting anywhere.
Exactly. So guys, how you spend your time is one of the most critical things that you need to get a grip on. And you need to be brutally honest with yourself. I mean, Dustin, when you came on board and we're helping you, were there moments where you reflected on your time in the past and went, like, what went through your mind?
Quite a bit. I mean, we were at a point to where I didn't know if I can continue to keep doing what we were doing. That was a big part of it, because you see those results when you work for years. Things are growing. You're getting a little bit of a foothold, a little bit of success, but it's costing everything. At what point is it worth maintaining that? And yeah, I felt like I was completely burnt out, ready to look at doing something else. Knew we had a great opportunity in front of us, but didn't know a lot of that information, the stuff we picked up from everything from defaulting our calendars to everything else.
Yeah, and we're going to get into some of those other things. Everybody listening, okay, we're going to get more specific. But when you said, when we look at the costs associated with that, like during this time of the 1.8 break even, and how many years have you been in business?
4 years.
Okay, so picture how many years of those for, prior to, let's say the 3, because you've been with us for a year. How many years out of the 3 was it a form of break even or not making any, or actually losing money?
All of it. So it was something to where, we would have our wins, but it was always an up and down.
Roller coaster.
Yeah, it was, feast and famine nonstop, and there wasn't a whole lot of stability. And I feel like we've got more of the stability now.
Oh my God, man. It's a game changer. Game changer. Okay. Yeah. So
it's
let's
not
talk
financial. Like I think you were mentioning, the time in personal life as well was really the biggest payoff. So when we're going month to month for years, it's a vicious cycle, where I'm dealing with clients personally constantly. And that was my life for 3 years, prior.
Now, were you married? And did you have any kids during the 3 years?
Yeah, we had 3 kids. We've got 4 now, and they're all 6 and under. So it's crazy.
So I say this with a bit of humor, and for those of you that don't like it, hey man, it's totally cool. Like I said, you can tune out on this shit. So a little bit of humor, sarcasm. When people I say, so were you married? They go, I go, do you got kids? Like what Dustin just responded. Then I go, are you sure? Like, what do you mean? It's like, it's such a blur that were you really a father? Were you really a husband? And just elaborate on that a bit.
Yeah.
Well, some of the sacrifices?
A lot of that had to do with even talking with my wife. Is this worth continuing on the same path we're going? Because she's got a lot of kids. She's a full-time mom. That's one of the reasons we moved to Boise area, is the cost of living has been as such where we should be able to survive off of one income. And that was our goal. So everything was riding on me with the business. So it was a constant pressure to make sure we were making enough to, keep food on the table and a roof over our heads and so on. And as the business grew, it just required more and more of my involvement, my time. If we hired another guy and another crew, now I've got more jobs I've got to check up on and more things that it still added more to my plate. And so even with my wife, it was very, it was a blur. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with her, didn't spend a whole lot of time with my kids. You start to see, man, how fast these kids are growing. And that's something that if I can't be a part of my kids' lives, then I don't want to do what I'm doing. That's definitely more important than this job. And if I can go work a 40-hour week somewhere, leave all the headache and spend time with my kids, I would rather be doing that than spinning my wheels, working round the clock and still just getting by.
I love it, dude. So, before you got on this call, what were you doing?
So, part of my defaulted calendar is I'm fishing on Wednesday mornings and Saturdays. Today's Thursday, but we've got a fishing tournament coming up on Saturday, and so I've upgraded some stuff on my boat, and I had to get out in the water and just make sure it was operational. So took off early this morning, and anyway, got things done. I think it's all dialed in, but yeah, I was running behind. Had to drop off the boat and jump on the computer.
So your default. So everybody understand this. The things that we cover off on this call. It's not just business. There's so many of these principles that apply to our life. You know, Dustin brought up about defaulting our calendar. When you look back at your week, and I know earlier I said, look back at your work week, I was referring to, and ask yourself, like, where did you put your time? And if you don't know the answer to that, that's a really good indicator that you need to start looking at, where am I putting my time? If you look back and you're able to go, well, I put my time here and here and here. Okay, awesome, that's a good start. But then ask yourself, like, what is the value of that time, right? Now, with that being said, the exact same thing we need to do with our personal life. So like this fishing tournament, this, going every Wednesday, like, is this just by yourself or is this with family or who?
So bottom line is I want to spend time with my kids, and I've got 4 kids. I'm not ever going to take them all out on the boat at once. Again, that happened once and won't happen again, but it allows me to take one kid at a time. So we've got a rotation where I take one kid out with me on Wednesday,
That's
another
awesome.
kid on Saturday, another kid on Wednesday, another kid on Saturday. So it's just it's a regular thing. Our staff knows, until lunchtime on Wednesday, I'm not available.
Oh my God, dude, that's awesome.
On the water. If by chance I'm not fishing, I'm going to do something with my kids. It's a time that I can spend time one-on-one with my kids every week. That's a priority to me. There's probably days I'm putting in more than, I'm still getting my hours in with work.
Yeah, for sure.
Is something that I'm able to do and just kind of prioritize my stuff. It was funny, just a couple of weeks ago, was able to ask my wife if she wants to jump in the rotation. We had a scenario where we had somebody to watch kids, and hey, got to go out fishing with my wife. She did that more to amuse me, but at the same time, she enjoyed it, and she agreed. She knows why I enjoy getting out on the water at sunup, and
dude, amazing.
It's been awesome. So.
Now here's something I want to just caveat, and then we're going to get into some of these other things that you've done and you've accomplished. I want to be clear about something. In your mind, wasn't it a priority back during those 3 years?
It is, but I think when you're in a survival mindset, you're doing what you have to do, and then when that requires long hours, long days, customer contacts and keeping customers happy, a lot of times that took my evenings. I was running home late, so I'm missing dinner with the family because I've got to go out and meet another client. And anyhow, so that a lot of that is much more under control. I've got a very standard work week. Monday through Friday, we really don't work weekends. We don't work evenings. We're typically done by 4:00 every day. If we need to schedule something now, it's not that big of an issue. If we need to schedule something for a Saturday afternoon, honestly, it's probably happened once or twice this year. But we have our personal time and our lives back. I think it's hard for contractors to switch your brain off and go from work to family. But if you can really develop that habit, it makes it a whole lot easier to do that, where everything's being taken care of. You've got people doing what they're supposed to be doing. You've got your calendar defaulted, so all of your major things are being taken care of. So it brings that anxiety and stress level down in a big way.
You see, everybody listening in, no matter what trade you're in, okay, no matter how many people you have, if we're not taking stuff out of our head and putting it in a place so that we know it's being taken care of, it's in your head. And the problem is, and most people, again, go get help wherever you need help. Don't do it alone, whether it's through us or somebody else, okay? Like I said, there's a link below, click on it. and we'll see if there's a fit or what have you. And regardless, we'll give you help. Okay, we'll give you a little mini plan to make sure you're overcoming the obstacles and what's holding you back. But back to mindset. Mindset needs to be backed by strategy. Okay, Dustin, you wanted to be with your kids. You wanted to be with your wife. I mean, but the want and the ability was not there.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what happens, I think, a lot of times that we get, because you don't know anything different, you're like, well, this is just the way it is. And so you sort of, you're mentally, you accept it. Right?
Yeah.
But when you start seeing that you can literally get things out of your head, you can put things, and by the way, like I said, doesn't matter how many people you have, the first person that you need to default success with and what needs to get done is you as the owner. If you can't do that, you won't ever be able to lead your team.
Yeah, that's right.
So look, dude, let's move on from defaulting calendar and roles and responsibilities. Everybody listening in, hopefully by now you understand what the importance is. You understand how you can get control, and it doesn't take. You don't have to do it all at once. Dustin, what would you say is the first couple of steps? If you say 2 or 3 steps for somebody listening in. Maybe it's through what we taught you, or maybe not. But what would you say would be 2 or 3 steps for somebody to get better control of where they're spending their time or applying their time on the business and the personal front?
You've got to know their priorities. You're from your financials to your scheduling different jobs, and really getting your managers, the guys that are overseeing other people. You've got to get that huddle up. It needs to be first thing in the week. We come in earlier on Mondays specifically for that. But then from there, our estimating our sales is another big meeting where we've got to get multiple heads together. So Wednesdays, right after lunch, is our sales meeting. We've got reflect meetings, Friday, where our guys, our project managers are kind of reporting and working with the crews to see what worked that week, what didn't work, what do we need to do or be prepared for the following week. Right there, I would say starting with these meetings where it begins to bring order and a process that does bring freedom. I mean, you mentioned get stuff out of your head. For 3 years, all of the accounting was in my head. All of the jobs, how long this job should take, everything's in my head. And that's the stuff that keeps you up all night and wakes you up in the middle of the night because something else will come back to memory. But the more you can put everything down on paper, everything has a place. There's a time for us to discuss this, discuss that. You've got somebody that's overseeing that you're in communication with. You get stuff out of your head, and that's kind of what brings the peace and the ability to have the quality time with family. Get off work and know that everything's running. People have roles, responsibilities. And and
they know. I know I didn't touch on this, but it's really
the week.
Yeah, totally. Is the rules, right? Like everybody understand the rules are there for a reason. If Canadian, right? We play hockey. I'm not saying every Canadian does, but a lot of Canadians do. Okay. We're playing a game of hockey. Did you play any sports, Dustin?
Yeah.
What'd you play?
I did football.
I knew you were going to say that, dude. You look like a football player, dude. What position?
Quite a few of them. Fullback and defensive line.
Oh, my God. You can see, you must have destroyed, crushing people. So, if whether or not we were playing a game of football or hockey, and I use those analogies all the time because most tradespeople, you can relate to this, right? Everybody needs to know what's inbounds and out of bounds. Everybody needs to know, how do you put a point on the board, right? Everybody needs to know, hey, what position? Am I playing quarterback? Am I on defense? Am I offense? Am I on the sideline as the coach? Guys, this is hopefully this is resonating, right? Am I defense? I'm a goalie. Don't put me out, guys, skating. That's not gonna, seriously, that's not a good place for me. Now, put me in the nets, that's a different thing. Because I know it, I practiced it, I know it. And this is sports. Even when we play shinny here, a lot of people are like, what the hell is shinny? It's a pickup. It's just playing for fun, okay?
Yeah.
Even when you play fun, if everybody listening on this, if we're to form 2 teams and play flag football, fucking everybody's like, okay, man, I'm quarterback. There's not 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Well, of course that makes sense. Well, does it? Well, what does your team look like on the field right now? Is everybody fucking thinking they're playing quarterback? Or, nobody even knows what the hell their position is? You could have the best fucking performers on your team. And, tell me, but if they don't know the rules of the game, how the Christ could you even know if you're winning or losing?
Yeah.
It's impossible, right? So, guys, make sure you define roles, rules, results. Make sure you got structure. Dustin, make sure you go grab that document. Frickin', it's awesome. Basically done for you, okay? And you can integrate it with what you have already. All right, rock stars, thanks again for listening to part 1 of this 3-part series. Part 2, we're going to dive into the 3 core areas of an efficient hiring system. We're going to give it to you, okay? We're going to go into the specific order, and it's not just about skill set. We're going to cover off the single most important thing that you need to include when you're hiring somebody. So if you like it, subscribe below. If you want to get a chat to get more insights, to get help specifically to your contracting company and how you can apply these, just click below, book in, get the help you need, take your business to the next level. Cheers.